It was not there to make friends. Duke changed the game, rewrote the rules, and left a global trail of destruction of the status quo. It sent a powerful message, a bold call to arms, to head off the straight and narrow, and to proudly embrace a life lived right at the very limit. 10 years later, the first Super Duke took that fearless legacy to new heights before the 1290 Super Duke R added a terrifying twist in 2013. Now, for 2017, there's a whole new face about to hit the street. And all you need to ask yourself is, how Duke are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Neeraj Sharma, Senior Manager Marketing for KTM. And on behalf of Bajaj Auto Limited, I welcome you all to the launch of the all-new 2017 KTM Dukes. With us today from Bajaj Auto, we have our President for the Pro Biking Business, Mr. Amit Nandi, along with other members of the KTM team. Diving straight into the action, this is the agenda for the day. A brief update on KTM, followed by the launch of the KTM Dukes, Q&A, and lunch at 1. It's impossible to discuss KTM without touching upon racing. Founded in Europe, KTM is rooted to racing for the past 65 years, with 270 plus world titles in racing across rally, supercross, motocross, enduro, and Moto3. It is fair to say KTM today is a global motorsport powerhouse. The last year was a rich year for KTM with 16 world titles in racing. 2017 has only just begun, but KTM already has in its bag one of the most prestigious titles in racing, the Dakar Rally. Widely recognized across the world as the world's toughest race for its length and its terrain, KTM has a rich legacy in Dakar with 16 consecutive titles since 2001. 2017 was no different, with the top 3 positions secured by KTM bikes. Moto3 is the 250cc class of Grand Prix racing, and KTM has been participating in it since 2012. With 4 titles in the last 5 years, KTM has laid down the marker for bigger things to come in 2017. And that's the big news. In 2017, KTM debuts in the MotoGP with the all-new RC16. In March at Qatar, it will be the start of a new chapter in KTM's road racing history. So a great year in racing, but a great year for business as well. KTM recorded its highest ever sales of more than 200,000 motorcycles in 2016, leading to its highest ever sales revenue of 1.14 billion euros. Of course, we've already discussed the 16 world titles in racing. This brings us to India and the segment in which KTM operates here. The premium sports segment comprises of sports motorcycles ranging between rupees 1 lakh to 2.5 lakh, and this segment has been growing exponentially. The orange bars that you see on the slide are growths for this segment over the last 5 years, and a CAGR of 20% compared to a 2.4% CAGR for the motorcycle industry means that the segment is growing much faster than the overall industry. A big reason for this exponential growth has been the addition of new players over the last few years. What was predominantly a Japanese segment with Yamaha and Honda in 2009 and 10 today has players from across the world, including KTM, Pulsar, Mahindra through Mojo, Benelli, the recently launched Dominar, and the soon expected BMW. So while the segment's been growing very fast, KTM's been growing even faster. At a CAGR of 48% over the last 4 years, KTM is India's fastest growing sports motorcycle brand. And along the way, in December 2016, the milestone of 100,000 KTMs on Indian roads was also achieved. This means that with KTM, Bajaj Auto enjoys a 50% market share in the premium sports segment. This, despite the fact that KTM is the most premium brand in this segment, where our entry-level product, the 200 Duke, is at a 20% premium to the rest of the competitors, and our overall portfolio is almost at a 50% premium to the rest of the segment. What this translates into is, despite having a volume share of 33% in the segment, KTM commands a value share of 41% in this segment. When compared with other premium motorcycle brands, the story is even starker. KTM is by far the largest brand with an 80% market share and approx volume projection for FY17 at 37,000 units. All the volumes here are annualized as per CM data. A big factor in the growth for KTM over the last few years has been the network. With 325 showrooms across the length and breadth of the country, KTM has the largest network for a premium sports motorcycle brand. The growth in this has been rapid, with almost a showroom being added every week over the last 5 years. That's how a typical exclusive KTM showroom looks like. And that's an exclusive KTM workshop. The plan for next year is even more ambitious, with 500 showrooms planned for FY18. Another big factor in the growth of KTM over the last few years has been our unique customer engagement program. Unique because it allows the customer to live the KTM brand promise of ready to race. By owning a KTM, a customer can experience multiple events such as a stunt show, which takes place in small towns for the masses, orange rides, short rides to biker points and biker joints near a city, long tours with long rides involving overnight camping, orange days where amateur racing can happen on a go-kart track or a big parking lot, track days where a rider can learn the tips and tricks of riding a sports bike on a race track, like the Bud International Circuit and the Chennai track, and Orange Cup, the official race and the flagship event of the KTM Customer Sports Engagement Program. We'll have a look at it in detail later. So that's the kind of atmosphere and energy that a customer can experience when he attends a KTM marketing program. Let's have a look at an Orange Cup video.
KTM has been arranging track days for a long time. Cup is the first time.
The organization was also great, everything was nice, the bikes are incredible. I've been waiting for a long time for this kind of a race to come.
So that was KTM Orange Cup. This is the product range that KTM has in India. The Duke series, which are naked street fighters, and the RC, which are super sport racers. And in each category, there is a 200cc and a 390cc variant. The Duke family, in particular, what we have in India is a subset of a larger family known as KTM Dukes across the world, and known for their naked minimalistic design, aggressive stance, highest power in class, lowest weight, and highly agile and maneuverable. The 390 and the 200 Duke, launched in India, received a fantastic response and a very, very warm welcome from everyone. Probably every award out there was won by both the bikes in their first 2 years of introduction. Which brings us now to what lies ahead. So the premium sports segment feeds off the segment just below it, which is the mass sports segment, ranging of sports bike between rupees 75,000 and 1 lakh, comprising of popular brands shown here. All these brands upgrade to a segment above where the KTM 200 Duke operates, being the largest selling naked bike in that segment. For people who want to choose a super sport or a full-fed version of a sports bike, the RC200 is available at a segment just above, between the price range $1.5 lakh to 2 lakhs. And for people who want extreme hardcore performance, there are the 390cc bikes available at a price point between 2 lakh to 2.5 lakh, also attracting super bikes from a segment above. Now let's take a closer look at what the all-new KTM 390 Duke is all about. So that is the 2017 all-new KTM 390 Duke. Let's have a look at it from some more angles. That's how it stands apart from the outgoing MY16 390 Duke. Packed with technology, packed with features, and a radical cutting-edge design. That's the 2017 KTM 390 Duke. It is not too hard to find the design inspiration coming from world's most powerful naked superbike, the 1290 Super Duke. And we can see very clearly how it borrows design cues from this big sibling. So it's not just on the outside. On the inside, the KTM 390 Duke is a revolution of a bike packed with features to the gills. The most important feature that will enhance the riding experience of the 390 Duke is going to be the ride-by-wire throttle. It is more than just the absence of a throttle cable. It is the guarantee of a smooth throttle response, where rider throttle movement is going to be aided with sensors, and that will make the throttle response much smoother, much more controlled and measured. The LED headlamp that we saw in the design is a piece of art. Of course, inspiration from the 1290 Super Duke comes across clearly, but in itself, it is highly, it's a great safety feature on the bike because it makes the bike highly visible to others on the road. 20 LEDs that give the outer illumination, and being LEDs, it is also better for the battery consumption. The TFT display on the 390 Duke is again something which is not available in bikes segments above this class. And the 390 Duke boasts of a beautiful, colorful TFT display that will allow the rider to see the data and information in a clear and precise manner. The TFT will be ambient light adaptive. That means if the light outside is harsh or it is dull, the TFT will adapt itself so that the data information, etc., is always clear. It will change colors at high revs so that whenever you are at a higher rev, the fonts, etc., become larger, so it's much easier for you to read them when you're going faster. And with the KTM MyRide, the TFT is also enabled to pair with a smartphone, which means through the handlebar, you can see if someone's calling you, park your bike and take the call, and if you are also listening to music, change music tracks as well. So a highly advanced TFT display console comes on the 390 Duke. A new side-slung exhaust, which made of aluminum canister, keeping the weight low, helps the bike get a big bike look, centralized masses, and also is better for emissions. An all-new dual-color split frame with a bolt-on subframe is new to the bike. It will be equally responsive as the outgoing frame and yet easier to maintain since it's a split frame. The bike maintains the lightweight steel trellis frame and the nimble handling on the 390 Duke continues. Adjustable levers on the bike, both on the clutch and the brake, will help riders to choose their comfort level basis their hand size and glove thickness, and also reduce stress for the rider when he's riding. An all-new open cartridge USD suspension on the bike, adjustable for height, better for leakage prevention, and a much improved ride quality for the rider. Slipper clutch, introduced on the 2016 model, continues on the bike, eliminating rear wheel chatter and allowing for faster and smoother cornering for the 390 Duke. More features include a bigger front brake with a larger rotor of 320 mm, greater stopping power for the bike, an all-new large steel fuel tank of 13.5 liters, which easily provides the bike with more than 100 kilometer range over the outgoing model, wider rear view mirrors, ensuring that it's much more easier for the rider to see bikes behind him and traffic behind him, a new UV resistant paint on the bike, which means that the color of the bike doesn't fade even with exposure to sunlight over years. It is also much easier to crank the new 390 Duke with a one-touch, soft-touch cranking. It's a contactless cranking system wherein there is no physical contact of strips when the bike is cranked, and in fact, it is magnetically induced. The new evap system, which prevents the loss of fuel due to evaporation and instead purges the fuel back into circulation and easily increases the fuel efficiency by 4 to 5%. ABS by Bosch on the 390 Duke continues, a dual channel ABS, to remind you, and by Bosch, so the safety standards on the 390 Duke are unmatched. So as we saw, with a cutting edge and a radical new design, the 390 Duke stands apart, not just in its segment, but bikes from above its segment as well. The list of features in the 390 Duke are also unique and exhaustive in its class. No other bike can boast of such figures and performance figures like the 390 Duke, a power to weight of almost 268 PS per ton, trellis frame, aluminum swing arm, USD front forks, ride-by-wire, ABS, a TFT display, LED headlamps, and a slipper clutch. Let's have a look at the 390 Duke video to see the bike in action.
Life is like anyone can take it to the limit down a wide open freeway. But what exactly does that prove? Keeping it flat out in top gear when everything is laid out before you and the going is easy. This takes no real skill or courage. But how you handle the unexpected twists and turns on your journey, this shows what you're really made of. So for me, when life throws a kink in my path, I simply tap down the gear, lean it hard, and always make sure I nail the apex.
So as we saw, with a cutting-edge new design and packed with features, it's no wonder the 390 Duke is one of the most awaited motorcycles in the world today. For a customer looking to enter the KTM family, the 200 Duke has been a hugely popular bike, and we have some news on that front as well. This is the 2017 all-new KTM Duke 200. Refreshed design, orange rims, and 3 color options as before. That is how it looks different from the outgoing model. So fresh graphics, 3 colors, orange wheels, and BS4 compliance on the KTM 200 Duke for 2017. There are reasons why this hugely popular bike is a favorite among people. Its highly playful nature comes from the fact that it has a trellis frame, which is lightweight, enables better handling. The aluminum swing arm, which is again lightweight and rigid for exceptional handling. The multifunctional digital cockpit, which has a host of information for the rider to use. The underbelly exhaust, which is great for centralizing the mass of the bike, aiding better handling and a lower CG. The rear monoshock by WP, 10-step adjustable, much better for bike handling, and made by race suspension specialist WP. This means that the 200 Duke even today stands apart from competition, right from its European origins and its design, being a street fighter and a 25 PS bike with a 169 PS per ton power to weight ratio, and features like trellis frame, aluminum swing arm, and upside down front forks being unique to the KTM 200 Duke. With this, we complete our range for 2017 for India with the KTM Dukes. Or do we? To take the presentation further and launch the 2017 KTM Dukes, I would like to invite Mr. Amit Nandi, President Pro Biking, on stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. So like Neeraj said, this is what the 2017 range is about. Having done this, we thought that it would be just very unfair if we did not offer our tens of thousands of 200 Duke customers an opportunity to upgrade, and that's what brings us to the wild card of the day, which is the KTM 250 Duke. And I specifically hope that all our fans who are watching through the webcast, I'm sure this is something which will excite you. That's how the bike looks. Again, it has the same design philosophy, the language of the 390 Duke and the 1290 Super Duke in a smaller but potent package. Some more angles to look at the bike. There's a color option, an orange one, and this is the white bike. Those are the two colors side by side. Coming down to the specifics of the product, 250 cc, 30 PS power, 24 Newton meter torque, Super Duke styling, a host of premium features which I'll talk about, and two colors. Styling we've already seen and spoken about. The 250 Duke has the split trellis frame of the 390 Duke. I'll not run through the advantages of it. Neeraj has already covered. It has the open cartridge USD suspension of the 390 Duke. Very attractive and sporty slide slung exhaust. Aluminum swing arm, which is very core to KTM. and the 250 Duke also gets a slipper clutch. How does the 250 Duke compare with competition? I'll first draw your attention to the power to weight ratio. At 186 PS per ton, it's way ahead of the Japanese competitors as well as the Mahindra Mojo. I'll draw your attention to the power figures of 30 PS. It is comparable to the slightly bigger displacement BMW at 30 PS versus 34 PS. Torque wise, 24 Newton meters versus 28. And if you look at the features, it's the only bike to have a slipper clutch amongst those it's been compared with. Very few of them have a multifunction cockpit, the one that's there in the 250 Duke. Trellis frame, the only product to have it. Aluminum swing arm, none of the Japanese or Indian competitors have it. USD forks, not everybody has it. So this nicely lays out how what are the kind of features which are there in the individual products and the variants of the Duke series. So these are the features which is common to the 250 and the 390. The styling, the slipper clutch, the split frame, the exhaust, the USD suspension, and a larger fuel tank, 13.5 liters, and a metal one at that. The features which are exclusive to the 390 Duke are the ride-by-wire, the TFT display, the LED headlamp, and the ABS with a larger disc brake. And then we have the features which run across all the three variants. The trellis frame, the swing arm, and a new electric orange paint. Displacement and power-wise, that's how they stack up. 25 PS, 30 PS, 43.5 PS. So there is, depending on the level of evolution of the rider, there is something for every level. And coming to the portfolio, which Neeraj touched upon. So this completes the KTM portfolio 2017. So the 200 Duke is where that's the entry level product for the brand, which has everything that KTM has to offer at a very, very affordable price. Having come into the fold through the 200 Duke, or in some cases through the RC200, there is an option to upgrade to the 250. And then there are the 390s, a faired one and a naked one, which really makes it very hard for someone to go beyond this into much more expensive so-called super bikes. Because for Indian roads and riding conditions, this is more than enough power that is needed. Coming to the price, the 200 Duke, despite being BS4 and with a refreshed package, continues at the same price. So which in essence, it means that there is actually a price reduction, because if for all competitors, the price is going to go up with the BS4. So at the same price, the entry level 200 Duke is pegged at. The 390 Duke comes in at 225,730 rupees. These are all ex-showroom prices, Delhi. And for the price, it is a fully loaded bike, which features which are not even there in a segment above amongst many of the brands in the market. And then between the two, there is the 250 Duke at 173,000. With that, I'd like to now present the MY17 Duke range to you.
We also need to allow our TV cameraman to cover the bike. So once we are done, you'll have ample opportunity to shoot the bike. shoot you once. So yeah, request you all to take your seats for a couple of minutes before we start the Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Zahir, Shumi, mic for Shumi, please. Availability.
So the bookings open today itself. The 200 Duke and the 250 Duke has just been, they've just been shipped to dealers. They're on the way. So in a few days' time, they'll be available at the dealerships. And in about a week's time, we should be shipping the 390 Duke as well. But bookings for all the three bikes start today.
Any other questions? Mic there, please.
Hello. Yeah. So during the RC launch, we had a question and answer, and you were said that 250 is not really viable for the Indian market. What changed?
Oh, nothing's changed.
So because we had a discussion.
Yeah, sure. So your question is, why was the 250 not relevant for the RC, but how come it's relevant for the Duke?
Yes.
That's your question. Unlike the RC, which is a very focused product because it's meant primarily for the track and it's a proper super sport styled bike. Unlike the RC, the Duke is much more broad based. You can take it to the track and you can use it for a daily commute. You can tour also with that. So it's much more broad based, and as a result, the 200 Duke is an entry-level product, which captures the essence of what KTM has to offer without it being very specialized. Now, with that being an entry-level product, it was very important for us to not tinker around with the price. So, despite BS4, MY17, we've stuck to the price, and with the evolution of the rest of the range with features and new styling, etc., the price of the 390 Duke had to move up, and that gave us an opportunity to plug this big gap with a 250. And unlike in the RC, where it's not really an entry-level product to start with, because the Duke is much more of an entry-level brand, it gave us the opportunity to have the 250 Duke as a mid-rung ladder between the 200 and the 390. Any other question? Yeah, there's somebody.
Okay, so we have the 200 to 390. Should we expect the higher versions as well, the 690, the 890, the 1290 Super Duke?
Eventually, yes, but right now, no, because we would like the market to evolve a little bit more, because the day the big bikes come in, we would like to be in a position to do full justice to it, not just by selling bikes, but also having a proper service and a spares network which is able to tend to those bikes. And so as a result, we believe that it's not the right time yet.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah. You've priced the bikes really attractively. Why didn't you offer ABS on the Duke 200 and Duke 250?
It wouldn't remain so attractive then. So, because on a serious note, the performance that the 390 offers, it needs an ABS, and the performance level of the other two, yes, an ABS is welcome, but from a pure performance perspective, is it essential? The answer is no. So for the customer who wants the everything that KTM has to offer in the range that's in India, the 390 Duke is there, and this is something which it allows a customer to step into the brand. So that's the reason we've had to keep ABS out, primarily to manage the price.
So we expect the ABS to come by 2018 or 19?
Very difficult to say at this stage, but I mean, honestly, I can't even conjecture at this point in time. But it's always, technically, it's always a possibility, but I'm not saying that it will.
Okay, thank you.
Ruman?
So does the 250 get Metzger's or MRF tires?
The 250 gets MRF tires.
And all the rims are the same, right? There is no different in sizes of rims across all the three bikes.
The 390 and the 250 will have the same rims. The 200 will have a slightly different rim.
Thank you, sir.
When can we expect the 390 Adventure?
Well, were you there for the RC launch, by the way?
Unfortunately, I was not there.
Okay, okay. So, just a day before the RC launch is actually when the strategic decision got taken to introduce the Adventure 390. So, it's underway. So, the product development does take its own time. So, it will take a while, but it will come.
Why has the design styling from the 1290 not translated onto the 200? Just to keep costs at bay, or what is it?
Yeah, the simple answer to your question is yes, that's what it is. Because if we had to get this new style on that, then we could no way we would have been able to manage the the price. And so we retain this at an existing price because we want more and more people to understand what KTM is. And in any case, with a little bit of stretch, this can also serve as an entry-level product. So the option is there for the customer. Any other question?
Great.
I think broadly that should be it.
Great. So that brings us to the end of the launch of the KTM Dukes for 2017. Thank you all for your participation, and we hope you like the bikes. And so lunch is served just outside, and you can have a closer look at the bikes as well. Thank you.